You don't need another strategy. Here's what you actually need to figure out why you can't implement the things that you already know. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storme, former psychologist, now business coach, and I help women just like us to build profitable private practices, usually in under 12 months. Being neurodivergent means I see the patterns that other coaches miss, but it also means I'm a truth teller, so I'm not interested in giving you any business advice that sounds good or might be trending, but doesn't actually work for us. Welcome to the Practice Momentum podcast, where we're going to get your private practice sorted out. Thanks so much for being here, and let's get on with the next episode. Got somebody with me this morning who is on his best behavior. He's still learning, I have to say. He's probably about 70% of the way there. So we're still encouraging at the moment. So he's sitting on this footstool that I purchased and then I put together anyway beside me, which is awesome. He's loving it. But when I start to not give him attention, then he decides to get my attention by doing things that really bother me, like scratching at my newly painted doors. And the trainer is saying, only use positive reinforcement. Like when he's scratching at your doors, just don't give him anything. And so I'm sitting here and I can hear him scratching and I'm not doing anything. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, all the paint's going to come off. Oh, he's engraving my door. It's fine. It's fine. Doors can be replaced. Just let it go. Waiting for him to do what I want him to do so then he can get the treat. It's a whole thing, isn't it? And I don't even know how you guys do it being parents. Like, I couldn't imagine. Anywho, something else that's going really well. I have a heater in this house and I love it. But I thought to myself, I would really like to be able to set the timer on it, because when I wake up in the morning, you know, the house is chilly, right? And because I don't leave the heater on overnight, I figure like I've got all my blankets and stuff. But in the morning when we get up, it can be a bit chilly, especially down here in the country. It's very frosty. And I just thought to myself, well, I wonder if I could set the timer. Now, I don't have a fantastic background with trying to do this. Like it, you know, I don't think I've ever been able to set a timer other than on my iPhone for something. And then I just ignore it when it goes off. I just, you know, hit the little cross instead of stopping what I'm doing, which was the whole reason I put it on. But anyway, but this morning I thought to myself, no, I'm just going to do it. And you know what? I just thought to myself, I can do this. This could be easier than I thought. And guess what? I've set the timer and I'm so excited now because half an hour before I wake up tomorrow morning, it's going to kick in and I'm so excited to see if it's going to work. I think it will. I don't know. Like if you've ever set a timer on your heater, you know what I'm talking about. You know how you get those remote controls and it's the digital thing? Anyway, it's the whole thing. The other thing is, I'm just quickly giving you a very quick life update before we get into the show today. But the other thing too is this house is entirely floorboards, which was on my wish list, right? It was my dream. I love, love, love floorboards because it's just so easy to clean. And I don't like doing housework or vacuuming. I'm very lazy like that. It's just not my thing. I'm just not into it. And yes, I know that I can get somebody to do it, but at the moment, I just want to enjoy my floorboards. However, they don't hold heat, which is becoming a problem because I want to have like a nice toasty warm house. So I've been buying all these rugs and I've been buying them online, right? Because where I am out in the country, there's just nowhere to buy stuff. And I'm an hour away from a great big shopping centre one way. So yeah, again, it's a whole thing. But anyway, so I've been buying all these things online and some of them have been great, but most of them haven't been. And so they've ended up downstairs in a garage. Anyway, yesterday I took myself off to, it's not really country town, but it's also not the suburbs. It's kind of in the middle. And I thought to myself, I'll just go over there and see if they might have something. You go, baby. Good boy. I'm just like feeding him treats because he's been good. So yeah, I just want to maintain this. And anyway, yeah, I was looking for bits and pieces because I realized it's been 6 weeks now since I've been in this place. And, you know, I'm still looking at blank walls for the most part, even though I bought my beautiful piece of art. I Also bought another piece of art that I really love. It's textured and it's just of like hills. Like it's just really, it's sort of whitey, creamy color, and it's in a wooden frame. And it's just like, yeah, it's texture of like hills basically, like somebody's done it with a palette knife, these really great big hills. And I really love it because it fits with everything. But there's still a lot of space to go. And anyway, I thought to myself, I've been collecting all these historical photos because where I've moved is a historical town. And it just turned out that I've got great aunts and great uncles and cousins and second cousins and people removed and all of this living here in the town. So I've been very excited about finding the old black and white photos and things like that. And I saw on Pinterest that you can make like gallery walls, and it's very simple. All you need to do is get the same size frame and you just buy lots of it and you arrange it in either a rectangle or a great big square. So you could do like 4x4, 3x3, something like that. So anyway, I thought I'm going to give that a go. So one of my walls, it's quite narrow because it's like the side of a wall, so it's probably only about not even a meter wide. And I thought, well, that's perfect because I can get 4 of these frames and just put them like the top half of the wall, or not right down to the floor, but I can put them there like a column and each one can be like a different picture. So anyway, that's what I was looking for and I found them and I was so excited. And then I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I can do this in the study as well. Like I can do this in the office and I'll just get big frames for all my degrees and diplomas and stuff. I've got loads of them. So I'm just going to pick like my best ones, like my favorite ones. And I'm going to, make like a gallery wall as my back wall in my office so that, they're all there. And I just thought everything else in this house is sort of natural. It's like timbers and stuff like that. But I'm going to put these in black because I don't know. I want to try them with black. I just think it's going to look better. It's going to look more me. It's going to look a little bit more professional than if I stick them in a timber frame. I don't know. I mean, I did used to have them in timber frames when I first got them. They're out of their frames now. Frames broken moves throughout the years and stuff like that. I'll just never replace them. Isn't it funny, like how you get your qualification, you're so proud on the day and you can't wait to go and get the thing framed. And then, I don't know, life just happens and you do things like move houses and frames break. And like all my frames are in this really, 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 really old hard briefcase. It's a briefcase that it was my first briefcase. I inherited it from my mum when I was studying and I thought I was the bee's knees with this. It's black and like it's got brass little, the 3 numbers, like the 3 dials, so you can make a code like 1, 2, 3, and you do that on either side, and you got to like dial it in, and then you can push these little levers, and then it goes pop pop, and the lid opens. So cool. I thought I was awesome with it. So anyway, they're in that, and the only reason is like I still had the briefcase, no idea why, and it was the only thing that I could put them in that would protect them and stop them from getting screwed up and crinkled. Because guess what? I thought I'd lost them, but when I contacted Monash to get them, they were like, oh yeah, you can get them, but it's going to cost you $330 for each one to be reprinted. I mean, what? And that was, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago now, but I've just found them again, so thank goodness, because who's got that? Like $330 just to get a reprint of your degree? Anyway, so yeah, I found all those things, and then while I was at that place doing some shopping, having a poke around, I saw a rug. I really loved it. I ended up buying the rug. It wasn't on the list, but I bought this rug, came home. I was a bit nervous about can I move the furniture and like lay it out and do all of the things. But again, just told myself it's going to be easier than I'm imagining. Don't get your knickers in or not, Brooklyn. And of course I did it. And it's about 1.2 foot wide for the area. So not bad news entirely because I'll just move it to a different room. Like I can move it into here, because this study is huge. I can move it into here and it'll fit. It'll be just fine and look better actually than the rug I've got. And then I can just go and get the smaller version of this rug. But now I'm thinking maybe I'll get a few because it's really good. Very happy. So things are starting to come together, and I bought a really, 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 really beautiful mirror from Early Settler, and I love the shape of it. I think it's called the Chloe mirror or something, and I've never seen a mirror this shape before. It's reminding me, it's like giving Art Deco, but it's not. But it's just stunning, and it's huge. So well, when I say huge, to me it feels huge, and I can't find, like, I haven't been able to find a wall that it's going to sit on and look okay on. So it's going to go in the lounge room. Yeah. And it's going to actually work really well there because that's going to reflect back like the view from my favorite window in the house. It's the window that's got the best view of the hills and the cows. So it'll be great. Anyway, that's that. In other news, the things that are happening with the business, still haven't finished the website because, as you know what it's like. You go back, you have a look, you do iterations. I'm still iterating. That's okay. I'm hoping to get that finished though, hopefully this weekend. I want to say today, but I don't want to set myself up for failure because it's also really nice outside, and you know who, Buddy, really loves to go for walks, and so do I. So we haven't been able to go on a long one the day before yesterday or yesterday because it was pelting down with rain. So we still went, but they were only short walks, like just a few K, not anything big. So I do want to make sure we do that. And they usually take us a couple of hours. So I want to make space for that, not sit in front of the computer in this beautiful weather. Yeah. And then the other thing is, I've just forgot what I was going to say. So let's just get on with today's episode. That's it. I was thinking about how I haven't been doing any of my marketing, and I haven't, I should probably email my list because I haven't emailed my list since I've moved. So 6 weeks, that's not like me. They're probably all wondering where I am. But I did clean my list. I got rid of 739 subscribers. So that all feels really good. Some people really panic about when people unsubscribe, but I unsubscribe people from my list every 6 months because it's very important. The whole reason that you have an email list is to contribute, right? To be in somebody's world. And it's really important for me now to, one of my highest intentions right now is to be a blessing to people, and in a practical sense for me, that just means I want them to read the email and go, oh, I'm so glad that I read Brooklyn's email today. That was really useful or helpful, or gave me a fresh perspective. I hadn't thought about it like that, or this has given me an idea, or this was a really handy resource, or I want that to be, what people go away with. So yeah, just went through and did a big list clean. So that's feeling really good because now I've got people on my list that are aligned, and I'll clean it again in another 6 months, especially because of the pivot. So I was thinking to myself, okay, I want to write an email, but I noticed I was getting in my head about it because I thought, well, what are you going to do? You're going to tell everybody about this big pivot, and then everyone's going to unsubscribe because maybe they're just not into your pivot, and this came up, and I'm sharing it with you just quickly now because maybe it's come up for you at some point. Maybe you're pivoting or not. But anyway, the reason, quick backstory, the reason for me is because I don't want to teach people to, I don't know, I think the whole idea of I'm into manifesting. I think the whole idea of manifesting rightfully has some, big concerns around it. And I do agree with a lot of those concerns, but not all. I do also think that when people go on the attack for things around manifesting, I was doing some research, I saw some articles that people published on Psychology Today, and it seemed to me like they're coming from a good place in terms of it's Psychology Today, right? So it's going to be about health and well-being. And I think these professionals were coming at it from the place of their own experience, their own education, what they know, their ethics, their duty of care, all those kinds of things. And they were kind of heeding it as a warning to, not go down that path. And I think, and they were giving examples that are just like, to me, I call it low-hanging fruit, just very, bad examples, yet very good examples of just the BS that gets circulated in the manifesting community. Things like, close your eyes, imagine you're going to get a check for $10 million and poof, there it will be. And then these articles are saying that's BS and it will never happen. And, I totally get that. But I think the problem I have with a lot of those articles is that they have gone for the low-hanging fruit and they haven't bothered to look at all the other things. And by that, what I mean is when I did my own research on manifestation, manifestation's a concept. And within that, there are, of course, pathways. Oh, here we go. He's off the footstool. I'm just going to ignore it. If you hear scratching, Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, if you have a look at some of those strategies, you can see pretty quickly that some of them are just, I don't know that they're going to work. They really don't have any evidence behind them. But a lot of them do come from an evidence place. The problem is the people that are talking about them in the places that clients, here we go, scratching, in the places that clients would normally find the information. Like if you were going to go and find info on manifesting, where's the first place you're going to look? It's either going to be Google or Instagram, right? Or YouTube. And when you go to Instagram and YouTube, for example, there are a lot of people on there that have like that little bit of knowledge, but they don't have the full knowledge always, or they don't share the full context. And so to me, it's a little bit like the Dunning-Kruger effect. We've got a little bit of knowledge over here and somebody running with it, thinking they know everything, and teaching that. And maybe they don't know that they don't know all of the things and they fully believe they're doing the right thing by teaching this. But what we, as people who do have an education in things like, in my case, psychology, for you, maybe it's counseling, social work, or psychology and something else, right? We do understand about education. We do understand about research. We do understand about proving things and disproving things. We do understand context, right? We've got that background. Other people don't. And so I think that there is probably one of the biggest challenges that the space of manifestation has. And so I think when it came to me thinking about emailing my list and talking about my pivot, I was anticipating it wasn't going to go down very well at all because people are clued into what they've heard and what their experience has been as a result of this stuff, this garbage circulating in the community. And it's not all garbage. There are definitely people who do speak about research and things like that, totally fine. But yeah, so I think when other health professionals view manifesting, the challenge is that they're just taking the easy way out and using these very obvious examples here and then talking about, why it's dangerous and you should definitely just go and see a health professional. But anywho, so I think that was coming up for me. But what I realized was nearly all of my clients at one point or another have used the word manifest, have asked me about manifesting, have said to me that they wanted to work with me because they're curious about it and wanted to know more or wanted to try techniques or tools or strategies or things like that. And even during the week when I was having all of this going on in my little brain about emailing my list, every single client that I spoke to used the word manifest. And I heard it and then I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm worrying about nothing over here. For all intents and purposes, probably everybody in my world who does end up working with me already knows my story, already knows my background, already knows my journey, already knows that I'm into this, and already work with me for the most part for it, because of it, da 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 da. So I'm worrying about nothing. And then I realized that the easiest way for me to convey my pivot in the email is just to be truthful, really, which I always am. But I think I was thinking like I had to like announce it or something like that, make this whole big thing of it. And when I reminded myself, well, no, just talk them through it, like talk them through your experience and how you came to be here. Suddenly it felt like relief. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. So I am going to do that, and I'll schedule it for Monday morning. And do you know what? Some people are going to get off the Brooklyn bus. That's okay. But other people are going to get on it, and that's okay too. And I'm perfectly down with all of that. And I think it's important to share it with you, because while there's very much part of me that wants you to see me as somebody who's got it all together and blah, 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 there's also another part of me that hates that. And because myself, I used to follow people and, respect people, look up to people sometimes and things like that, because it always looked like they had their act together. But when I started doing it myself, I realized that's not true. And that's not good, because when people only show the best bits or their highlight reels, then I think it makes the rest of us feel like we're doing it wrong, we're missing out, we're slow, there's something wrong with us, we're not good enough, we're not worthy enough. And so that's why, like, even though I'm showing, the flaws, the fallacies, the mistakes, the hiccups, the challenges, the things I go through, even though I'm showing that, I don't care whether it credits me or discredits me. I just want everybody to feel like they're okay where they are on their journey, and that, it's not always only a highlight reel. Okay. So anyway, what I want to talk about today is this idea of how you get your results in your business, whether you're manifesting or not, right? Because I think it's important, and I want you to take something from this that hopefully will help you in some way, shape, or form. And it's something that I lean into myself from time to time as well. And it's the idea of being responsible for the things that are within your scope of control, right? So just to bring it back to manifesting, you can go and Google the definition of manifest, right? And it can be like a noun, verb, adjective, all of the things. But you could say, the symptoms might take 6 months to manifest. You might say her disapproval was manifest by the way she raised her voice, or something like that, right? Either of those examples just show you that the word manifest really just means show, demonstrate, appear, present itself, develop, recognize, noticed. That's all it means. Legit. And you can go and look it up. That's all it means. It doesn't mean magic, okay? When you're being intentional with the things that you want to experience in your life or business, the results that you get can feel magical, absolutely. But magic isn't required, and nor is it part of the strategy, right? And I think that's important, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about what the definition of manifest is, okay? So it just means something appearing, something emerging, okay? And it could be a big thing, a little thing. You just heard those examples, right? The interest in your savings account is going to take 12 months to manifest, right? Just meaning it's going to take 12 months before it appears and lands in your account. Okay, so that's all it is. We don't have to get all like, panicky and all of this about it. That's all it is, very simple. What I believe my position with manifesting is that you are responsible for the things that you're able to be responsible for. You can influence the things that you are able to influence, right? The things that are within the realm of your control. When I help people with manifestation, this is what is going on for me, right? And so the things that I believe most of us can control with consideration and thought and attention, all those things, I do believe that we can influence our own behaviors. I do believe that we can influence our own motivation, our own perception, the way we attend to things or don't, the way we look after ourselves, the things we do or don't do, what we choose to believe or not, our values and whether we choose to work or live in concordance with those, all those kinds of things. I believe, we do have autonomy over. When you study psychology, you learn about internal and external locus of control. And that simply means, is this something that you feel is within your scope, or is it something you're giving away? In a spiritual sense, in the spiritual community, you might say, are you feeling empowered? Are you disempowered, right? Look, I could go on and give you so many different examples, but this is important because it's locus of control that has a very big influence on what you can influence, right? And therefore, what you can experience in your life or your business. For example, let's say that, I don't know, you need more clients. Let's say you want more clients, you want to fill your diary. Now, within the scope, right, there are definitely things that you can be doing to increase the potential for you to get some clients. Now, if you have an internal locus of control, you're going to approach the task of getting more clients from looking at what you can do. You're going to say, okay, what can I do myself that's within the scope of my influence to get these clients? And a lot of you are going to default to strategy. You're going to say, okay, I need a strategy. I need to post on my socials. I need to update my website. I need to do this, maybe start YouTube, maybe do a podcast. You're going to do all those things, right? You've got internal locus of control. And because you're doing it and you're believing that you can do things that will increase the likelihood of attracting clients, you have an internal locus of control. People that have an external locus of control don't feel like they can influence their outcome. They might say things like, well, I need more clients, but I live in a rural community, so I can't get any. I need more clients, but I can only do online. So I'm stuck. It's just not going to happen for me. I know I need to market my business, but I don't want to do marketing. Just don't like it. Not into it. Don't love it. Right? So they're seeing things as not being within their control, or they're choosing not to take control. So I think one of the biggest criticisms that I agree with of manifesting is that there can be, let's say, victim blaming. It's not a great term, but I think there's a perception that, you're responsible 100% for all of your outcomes. And that isn't true. I believe that you're only responsible for the things that are within your field of responsibility, right? That are within the field of your control. You can't control things that aren't within your control. Like if, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of an example here. I mean, if there was a natural disaster or something like that, I can't control that. And no amount of me thinking positively or me taking the right actions or whatever can influence that, right? I know maybe there are things that I could do, but generally, no, I can't influence whether or not we have an earthquake. There are going to be, maybe you're a victim of crime. You didn't bring that upon yourself. That is somebody else doing that thing, right? That's, I think, one of the biggest challenges around manifestation is there is a little bit of a narrative, perhaps, misguided, that goes along the lines of you create your reality, which I believe is true, but as I said, within the scope of what you can control. You can't control other people. You can't control other people's behaviors. If somebody is going to go and rob the liquor store down the road, you can't control that. You can't. They've got free will. They're going to do their thing. That's outside of your scope of control. What you can control, though, is your reaction to it, your response to it, this comes back to things in counseling, psychology, social work, like resilience, right? Like, how quickly can you bounce back from something that happened that wasn't anticipated, wasn't expected, wasn't wanted, didn't go well, was hurtful, harmful, dangerous, all those kinds of things, right? So there's resilience, comes back to locus of control, comes back to what do you believe, what do you choose to believe or not, what you can do or not. So I do agree that, suggesting directly or indirectly that a victim of crime, for example, or somebody who was involved in an accident or has been abused or is in hardship is responsible for all of that, I think that ignores the responsibility of the person who's done the thing, committed the crime. It ignores the environment around them and other, we'll call them extraneous variables, right? Very important. So, yeah. I think more needs to be done in the world of manifestation around clarifying that, because I think telling somebody who was a victim of something, hey, you brought it on yourself, I think that's very outdated and I think it's very, very dangerous. When it comes to being able to manifest outcomes, again, within the scope of your influence, there is no research that supports the idea that your results are always 100% a direct or reliable reflection of your internal state. And it's the internal state that's going to direct what you do, right? Your external stuff, which is your behaviors, right? The strategies you use, the actions you take, the steps you implement, they're all sort of external, tangible, real world things. But it all begins with your internal state, the intangible, right? Your identity, how you see yourself, your beliefs, values, thoughts, feelings, attitudes, aptitudes, skills, abilities, like all those kinds of things, right? Psychology often finds that people can infer that there's some kind of cause for our outcomes, shaped by things like context or chance, social structure, and other people's actions. That's very important to understand, right? Belief is also very important, especially for someone like me who's autistic. If you can hear the scratching, just ignore it. I'm trying really hard to ignore the damage that it's probably doing to my door. Crazy. Anyway, it's all good. Doors can be replaced. Because, yeah, when you're autistic, or even like this happens with ADHD for some people as well, you can have this idea in your mind of a just world. This is a huge one for me. Things being fair or not. Now, I could say, yes, it's the ADHD, yes, it's the autism. It probably also comes from a little bit of the trauma around how you get really good at assessing, like, good boy, back on the footstool. Good boy. Well done. Good boy. Yeah. So where you get really good, as I was saying, about detecting like micro expressions, the micro cues in somebody's tone of voice, the environment, space around you, all those kinds of things. So there's that, and then you're like hyper vigilant. You're on hyper alert, looking for the thing, and you're very mindful of who's doing what all of the time. So there's that, and I think because you're often, maybe it was your experience too, but for my experience, I was often feeling like I was responsible for everything. That's how I was raised. I was told, you're the oldest, you're the responsible one. And whenever one of my 5 younger brothers or sisters did something wrong, like, I would get the consequence for that. Okay, so it was huge, and I think that influenced possibly the development of my sense of right and wrong, fair, not fair. Yeah. And even now as an adult, things happen, straight away I'm assessing them as, is this fair? Is it not? Is it just? Is it not? And that can be problematic because, we can assume sometimes, like, if you're good and you do all of the right things, that you're going to be okay, and that by and large, you'll go through your experiences unscathed, and good things happen to good people. And you can also appreciate the flip of that might be, yeah, well, and also, bad things happen to bad people perhaps. And it's this type of thinking sometimes for some people that can also create a bias that can lead to victim blaming, or to like over attributing the results that somebody gets to their character or to a behavior rather than to a situation or randomness. And there really does need to be scope for that, right? Not everything is within everybody's control. There is no evidence that shows your internal state 100% of the time directly determines your outcomes, right? In a simple, like, one-to-one way. And in fact, even the literature around things being just and fair and things like that distinguishes between the appeal of like believing life is predictable, right? You're doing good things, therefore good things will happen, etc., etc. And the reality that many bad things happen without anybody deserving them, right? Good things happen to bad people. No, I got that around the wrong way, didn't I? Bad things happen to good people, right? But it also notes that things like social structures sometimes and external conditions are heavily influential, right? Again, outside of someone's control. Manifestation, literature, courses, podcasts just don't talk about that enough, okay? But there is absolutely a role for your internal state, because it does. An internal state, as I mentioned before, that's the things that are going on inside your mind that we don't always see, right? It's, as I said, the values that you have, your beliefs, right? All those kinds of things. Your internal states do influence some things, right? Attention, learning, making decisions about things, motivation, how you interpret or perceive things that are happening around you, right? Influenced by your internal state. But that's very different from saying that your internal state directly produces the outcomes. This is important because in manifesting, there are some narratives that say, just think happy thoughts, just have a lot of gratitude for things, just keep your vibration nice and high, like all that internal state stuff, and then you're going to be just fine and you will get your result. And the problem with that is it's not allowing space for things that are beyond somebody's influence of control, right? Like your employer losing their funding and now you're made redundant. That's nothing that happened because of how you were vibrating. Like, no. I mean, the way you deal with it is going to be influential of what happens next. Sure. Some people are going to have that experience and they're going to, hit depression or feel victimized or get angry or stuff like that. Other people are going to feel those things too, but then bounce back and say, okay, they're going to have some kind of mental attitude or shift in their awareness or something, or maybe they have faith or religion or spirituality, or there's going to be some kind of way that they say, okay, this is my reality. I'm redundant. Maybe this has happened for me. I always wanted to move to Costa Rica anyway. Maybe this is just, the opportunity. This is the kick in the pants I've needed, right? I'm just giving you an example. But the way that we approach that external event that we can't control, that we couldn't influence, can determine like what you do get to influence next. Again, big problem in manifesting. And I think this feeds into the whole idea of manifesting is dangerous. And I can understand why some people would think that. But again, it's just because it's not talked about like in any great depth. It's a concern. But yeah, your internal state can shape how you deal with things, right? What you do next can shape your perception, the strategy that you're going to use, the tool or whatever it is that you're going to implement, the way that you cope, right? How resourced you are and whether or not you choose to use your resources, like self-care, things like that. All of these things can influence your outcomes, yes, but the thing that you're manifesting, the outcome that you want, the goal that you're working towards, is not a 100% mirror reflection of your inner state. Very important. There's more to it than that, okay? I think this is important too because if we think about some of the stuff in the manifesting community that talks about, think positive, do gratitude every day, blah, 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 blah. That is very much around cultivating the inner state in order to manifest something into your reality, into your experience of the world, into your life, into your business and things like that. And so I think that that's problematic because it's omitting a whole bunch of other things. And I think through omission, that can set people up for, not to manifest the thing, which I think can then cause people to feel, like maybe they're not good enough. Maybe there's something wrong with them, especially if they're seeing other people talking about how they're doing this thing and it's working, right? I mean, not many people will go and start a YouTube channel about how they're failing at manifesting. You just don't hear that. You do a quick search on YouTube for manifest and everybody's talking about how you can manifest instantly or all of this. I don't know, problematic, I think. And I think criticism is absolutely warranted in some places, which is why I'm speaking into it and giving my take. Okay. Just saying like my notes if there's anything else that I wanted to share with you. Yeah, just again, like I've just written down here that there's a lot of research that demonstrates that your internal state influences your outcomes, but it's not 100% responsible for what you get. I mean, when I was doing the research, one of the articles that I found was Australian based, and it was talking about the role of high internal locus of control as well as like self-control, and it found that there was a link between that and better outcomes with health, right? And also the flip. So if you believed, according to this study, if you believed that there were things that you could do that could make you healthier, you are more likely to do those things, and then you are more likely to score well, better, improved on measures of health and wellness. And the flip was evident as well, right? So if you believed there was nothing you could do to improve your health, like it was just in your DNA that you were going to be, I don't know, like this, like that, whatever, and you had low locus of control and low self-control and all those kinds of things, then that was also reflected in the results, right? And there was another one as well that showed that when people believed that the results that they got were determined by them, like influenced by them, or, part of like within their realm of control, that a lot of the time they felt more confident and they're proud of their results, and there was positive affect for them around this. So like feeling happy, feeling joyful, feeling excited, feeling hopeful, all those kinds of things. And that this in turn was then linked to behaviors such as preferring to do tasks that they felt they could manage and, influence and have some control over, even if there was a cost associated with them, right? So this is an example here in this study of somebody's internal state shaping that person's motivation, which in turn shapes the behavior, okay? So they didn't manifest success, the results, the goals, just from positive thinking or raising their vibration, right? Very important. Yeah. What else have I got here that I want to share with you just quickly? Yeah, another one. I've got more research, don't worry. I'm not going to bore you with all of the details, but I'll just give you like the short version of it. But yeah, your internal state, right, impacts, influences, determines to some extent what you're going to do, right? This is like the very broad, what you think, what you do, what you get, right? A little bit CBT-ish kind of there. But yeah, research supports the idea that things like self-efficacy, right, your belief in yourself to be able to do something, your level of self-belief that you are capable, right, as well as internal locus of control and how you see yourself, right, your identity, right? I see myself as somebody who is capable of getting more clients and getting new inquiries on repeat. Of course I can do that, right? For example, along with things like a good environment, like I define a good environment as something that is resourced and conducive to you being able to get the thing that you want in your life or business, okay? When you've got these things in place, tends to increase the likelihood of you doing the things that are going to get you the results, right? Especially through things like, being persistent, through planning, through being able to make decisions, solve problems, and follow through on things, even when it looks like what you're doing isn't working, right? So with my clients, for example, it's, there are some that they'll do their website and massive learning curve. They don't love it. A lot of them really don't love it. But then what happens is they might just kind of stop halfway. Or if I give them some resources and some guidance around, optimizing their Google business profile, they might start and then they're going to get bored with it, or it feels tedious or whatever. They don't follow through, but they're still expecting a result. Okay. Follow through, I think for me means, going from step 1 to step 3 or whatever it is, even when it looks like it's not working out. Even when you've done your website, you persevered, you persisted, you got it done, and now your Google dashboard is going backwards and you're having a minor panic attack about that, or maybe even a major panic attack about that because you don't understand. And then you want to start looking for other things and rather than just staying the course, right? very important. Internal locus of control is very important when it comes to getting a result with whatever it is you want to manifest into your life or business, because it's going to shape how you see your actions in terms of, is it worthwhile? And is this something that I can actually do, right? And there are so many studies on things like entrepreneurship and health, for example, that show that internal locus of control is linked with proactive behavior, being resourceful, right? So that means instead of coming back to your supervisor or back to your business coach and saying, what are my next steps? Give me the plan, it's you being proactive and coming to your supervisor or coach and saying, hey, I want to get some more clients. I've had a bit of a look. I realized that here are 3 ways that I can do it. I was thinking of doing the second way. Can we talk about it? Very different, right? Where was I? Proactive behavior. Yeah, better self-management, right? Better self-management means you being able to be organized so that you get shit done, okay? It means making sure that you're set up in a way that works for you to get it done, whether it's manual and you've got notebooks everywhere, but you understand your system, or whether you need a totally clean house before you get started, doesn't matter. But better self-management, of course, is going to lead to a better outcome because it leads to you completing the things that you need to do, even when you're not getting the result that you want, or it's feeling difficult and you're in a state where you know that you need to keep going, you're persisting, you're persevering, right? It leads to things like stronger follow through. And yeah, that's so helpful to know when we're thinking about things like manifesting, which is why manifesting doesn't work when you're just focusing on one strategy like affirmations, mirror work. Not going to work. You need to have these other things in place first. And this is my issue with manifesting. I don't think it's spoken about enough. If you didn't know about this, and you really want to manifest stuff, and you're feeling inspired because now you and I are talking about it again, right? And you're like, oh, this is so exciting. I was hoping she was going to come back to this, oh, I can't wait to get all the really cool things. Don't worry, we will talk about the really cool things. But I want you to understand the context, because yes, I can teach you about affirmations, and I will teach you about affirmations, and yes, they can work. But if you just go and buy an affirmation deck from Amazon and you read a card every day, probably not going to work for you, okay? Because these other factors influence it. Yep, which is why when you're trying to manifest, it can be really hard to do it from a deck of cards or a pre-recorded course or something like that, because you don't have somebody there to work with you and figure out like what's the lay of the land. Like, are you set up to be able to manifest something, the thing that you want, because we're always manifesting, but we want the thing that you want to come through. Are you set up for it to come through? Manifesting in social media is all about the next strategy. It doesn't talk about the context. This is my big thing. Anyway, business. Here's an example for those of you who are in private practice or running businesses, things like that. If you believe that the clients are out there, right? Like I always say to you, there's an abundance of clients. There's more than enough for everybody. We don't have to worry about any of that. But if you believe that the clients exist and you see yourself as capable, so you've got an identity, right? I see myself as someone who can do it, right? And you take marketing action and you have supportive people around you, right? Maybe you've got a business coach, maybe you're in a community, whatever it is. Maybe you've got loved ones, children supporting you, emotionally encouraging you to keep going, stuff like that, friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, partners, whatever. Those internal and external conditions are going to make it much more likely that you're going to show up doing the things you need to do consistently, right? And this is your internal state, right? Your mind influencing your behavior, and then that behavior influencing your outcomes. Do you see? It's a chain, right? And you can work backwards as well. So when I say, well, you're already manifesting, you're manifesting all the time. And the things that you've got around you in your business, in your life are the result of the things that you were, your identity, your personal psychology, your environment, how that was set up. What was the fourth thing? Oh, and the behaviors, like the actions, the steps, the strategies, those kinds of practical things. They all led to that thing that you've got or you don't have, okay, within the circle of your control. So do you see? You can reverse engineer this as well. And you can say, okay, why don't I have any clients? Well, I'm posting on social media and I hate it because I don't like pushing myself onto people. I don't like coercing people. I feel like I'm tricking them into working with me. Okay, so I've got some thoughts that are going on here. What are the beliefs behind those thoughts? Well, my beliefs are you shouldn't be selling to vulnerable people. My beliefs are it's scammy. My beliefs are I don't want to rip people off. My beliefs are, everybody should have access to everything all the time, and it's my responsibility to make sure they do. Interesting. And then you can go back. How do you see yourself? Like, do you see yourself as someone who's able to attract clients? No, I don't, because that doesn't align with my values. Okay, now we've got the identity. Do you see? It starts from the identity. So that's how you can reverse engineer it. And then from there, you can then start to put all these other things into place. And what's the opposite of reverse engineering? Just engineer it. Like, just take the steps and move forward, right? So yeah, your internal psychological factors can create meaningfully the actions, the decisions that influence the outcomes, the behaviors, and things like that. But at the same time, just be aware for yourself that we're operating here within a broader, real world of, both constraints and, of course, of opportunities. Okay. At the same time, what I want you to also be aware of is that, let's say, for example, we're using my approach here, which is you got to have the identity. Identity influences the personal psychology, influences the strategy, the behavior, the steps, the things that you do, influence your outcome, right? Let's say you're on board with my model here, okay? What I also believe is that you can take the steps and do the actions, right? So you've got the identity, great. You got the personal psychology, great. And you're taking the actions, great. But I don't always believe that those actions are going to get you where you want to go. And by that, what I mean is you might think, oh, well, if I post 6 times on social media every week for 90 days, like Brooklyn said, then I will get some clients. I think a strategy can get you there, absolutely. But I don't believe that it's ever the only way that you're going to manifest that outcome. I believe you got to do what's within the scope, right? But I think you also have to be real about it and allow space for things to come through for you in ways that you didn't expect or imagine. Okay. So it's like degree of responsibility, not 100%. For example, let's say we've got my example here. I'm manifesting paying off my brand new mortgage. I haven't even made the second payment on it yet. I've only made one payment on it. It's a 30-year mortgage. I want to get this mortgage paid off in 12 months or under, right? That's what I'm manifesting. Done. Now, you might be thinking, Okay, Brooklyn, well, what's the identity? So, thing is, I have to see myself as someone who's done it. I have to see myself as someone who's capable of doing it. I have to see myself as somebody who, doesn't have any obstacles to doing it. And then the way I see myself is going to influence my psychology here, which is going to be, in my case, it's going to be about, yes, resilience. It's also going to be about me being intentionally aware of things and not discounting, dismissing things all the time. It's going to be openness and readiness for change and growth. It's going to be, you know, ability to make decisions, take risks, like all those kinds of things. My personal psychology. And then my behaviors, as you've been listening to for the last little while, things within my control. Okay, I'm not going to get this mortgage done and dusted in under 12 months with that old business model. I needed to change my business model. That's what's happening now. This is the pivot that I've been sharing with you. Changing my business model, changing my environment. So making sure that I've got things around me in my home, which is where I live and work, that make me feel accomplished, that make me feel good, that make me feel inspired, that make me feel safe, that make me feel grounded and calm, that make me feel connected, right? This is why you're hearing about, yes, I bought rugs, but I needed to get the right rug for me. It has to be the right rug that's going to give me this feeling in my environment. Making myself a gallery with the images of family, like that's going to give me that feeling of connection, right? You're hearing about these behaviors, learning new skills. That's something that I'm also doing at the moment, revamping things. But, I also believe that just like I can take all of these steps, I take them because they're what I can do. They are within my scope of control. I also understand and am open to, ready for, happy to receive this outcome coming to me in a completely random way, right? I mean, who knows? I think I mentioned to you the week or the second week after I moved here, somebody in this very small country town bought a ticket from, this news agency that's only open like at random times. But anyway, they got a lottery ticket and they were in the first division prize pool, right? I mean, that could be me. I'm not saying, but I'm just giving you an example here. Or maybe the money comes through not just winning a prize. Maybe I get a contract. Maybe I create another Google Chrome extension and it goes viral. Maybe I make a skill for ChatGPT and everybody loves it and buys it and boom, there's all the money. Maybe, I dig up a gold bullion on a walk with BUDDY, who knows? You just don't know. And so this is important because I think so many people place the wrong level of importance in my mind of it's got to be the right strategy. No, I think strategy is important. You have to be doing something because action creates clarity. Even when you don't know what you're doing, start because you'll figure it out. It's the sitting there in the indecision that keeps your business and your life on pause. Even if you don't know what you're doing, start doing something. Google, how do I do this? Go into your AI tool and say, I'm stuck, help me. If you're one of the clients that I work with, I've already made you so many tools that help you get unstuck. Go and use one of those, right? If you don't know where it is or you can't find it, ask me. I'll give you the link to it. Like I made them for you. So don't always think, well, if this, then that. Because I don't think that is true for all of us all of the time. I think what's more true is, yes, do this with the plan, the hope, the intention, the vision that this result or this outcome is going to, come about for you. Absolutely. And also have the understanding that, hey, it might come through some other way as well. And I'm sure if you think about times in your life where you wanted something and you were thinking like, I don't know, maybe you were saving up for a car or something. And then, I don't know, maybe a parent gave you one for a birthday, right? Or maybe you always wanted to go to Paris or something like that, and you were saving up, you were working longer hours and you were saving up and you were selling stuff on eBay, trying to raise the money, and then, I don't know, somebody gives you a ticket to go or you win it in a raffle, whatever. There are other ways. So the strategy is part of it. It's not all of it, okay? And that's very important when it comes to manifesting. And I think that that's one thing that manifesting gets right, because when we're manifesting, we say it's this or it's something better, okay? Which is not exactly what I was just talking to you about. I'm going off on a tangent, but I will talk to you about this now. The this or something better is that you might be manifesting something, right? You're working on it, and you think you've got it, but then something happens, falls through. You don't have it. And this is a point of deviation in terms of outcomes. Very important. This is where, when it all goes pear-shaped, maybe you're in dark night of the soul town, right? I think many of us can relate to that. We've all been there. Or maybe it's just like huge disappointment and it's like you're having a pity party and stuff like that. You can go either way with this. And you can either, I guess, stay there and say, well, this is all BS, it didn't work, what a load of baloney. Or you can lean into a belief that it's this or something better. I can give you an example very recently from me and my life. I really thought when I found this area, if you remember from previous episodes, I was going to say sessions, if you remember from previous episodes, I found my dream home. I loved it, but didn't pass the pest and building inspection. And I was devastated. I knew that I couldn't get it. I knew that there was no way I could live there, even though part of me wanted to be defiant, say, well, I'm going to get it anyway and prove everybody wrong. Like, I knew that I couldn't. And I was devastated. Now, I could have just like given up and said, well, manifesting didn't work, didn't get my house, right? And then even the house I'm in now wasn't my first choice after that, right? After that first house, so there were 3 houses I looked at. That first house, fell in love with, that was the one that I wanted. The second house, it's the one I'm in now, underwhelming. And then the third house, I really loved, but it needed a lot of work. So I was like, I'm tapping out. I'm just going to go with the easy house, number 2. And anyway, I wasn't appreciative and I didn't see all of the things about this house. But the longer I was in it and the more familiar I got with it and the more familiar I got with the area and stuff like that, I knew that it was my dream home and it was also my something better. So when you say it's this or it's something better, what you're essentially doing is, in your own mind, allowing space for something different to come through that, again, you may not have been expecting or you may not see the value of in the moment, but that you come to realize was actually better than what you wanted. With this place here, and again, I won't belabor it because I have discussed it before, it felt underwhelming because you got to remember, I was coming in hot off the back of a place that needed bucket loads of repair. So when I came into this one and it needed nothing, like it was turnkey, and I got this place, it was like, I didn't feel like there was really anything for me to do, especially because at the same time, it came furnished. right? That was something better. Having the furniture on it was not on my manifestation list of all the things that I wanted. It wasn't. The other thing that I got was views from every room of the hills and the cows and the country and the this and the that. I never asked for a view, but here we are. And now I can go and look back at those other two houses and I can stand in front of them on the street, look around. Boring, right? For me, I now realize my something better was to feel spacious, and that spaciousness was having great big picture windows, which these other two houses didn't have, and a huge view, right? So I think just like when we think about strategies, I think in psychology, I think in business, I think in business management, we're often taught X leads to Y. Do this thing and you will have this thing over here. I believe, sure, yes, and you still might get the thing over there without doing this thing over here. This thing over here could happen in all kinds of different ways for you. But you've got to be in a position of everything being conducive to it, right? I mean, you got to have the open mind. Otherwise, you might not see it. Very important. When I think about manifesting paying off this mortgage in under 12 months, and I think it's this or something better, what that does is it tells me, yeah, you can go and do the things within your scope, but there's space left over for this to get paid off in other ways that you haven't considered yet. Or maybe it doesn't get paid off, but something else happens that's even better than if this house got paid off, right? And that's an interesting space for me to sit in because my priority is getting it paid off. I don't like debt. I don't. It makes me feel jumpy, anxious, nervous. I don't know. I don't like owing anybody money. Especially a bank, all of this stuff. I just know. I just want it gone. So when I allow myself to think, what could be better than paying off your mortgage? I don't know. It's something I really do need to think about. Maybe it's something about I don't know, like safety or security or not feeling jumpy or anxious or nervous, right? So I'm open is what I'm saying. And I think it's this that manifesting does really well because I think when you have that space of, right, I'm going to do everything that I can within my control, that I'm going to do absolutely everything that I can. And do you know what? If it works, great. And if it comes through in a different way, also great. And this is my goal over here to get 5 new clients this week. But if I don't get the 5 new clients, I'm also open to something else coming in that's going to be better than if I had 5 new clients. I'm welcoming that. Yes, send it my way. I think that takes, for me anyway, and I haven't researched this part, but I think it takes some of the pressure off. I think it's like the value of faith and spirituality when it comes to creating something, whether you're manifesting or not. I think, and again, I haven't researched this, but I can, but I think that when you've got faith, so faith just being a belief that you have, right? But it could be spirituality, it could be religion, it could be Christianity, whatever you choose to believe, right? I'm learning about Christianity at the moment, but I can also link it to what I have experienced with my spiritual beliefs and stuff like that, right? So I do like to believe, as you know, like I loved believing, still do, that I'm connected to my higher self. I really love talking to my pa And to Gabe, my puppy that crossed over, like sometimes I will say to them, thank you so much for bringing me here, for guiding me here, for sending BUDDY to me. Like, I'm so thankful and appreciative of that. And I really believe and I value, I like to think that there's a connection there. Okay. And I think when you're thinking about things from a spiritual perspective, maybe you're thinking about the universe or source. If you're thinking at it from a Christian perspective, like I'm sort of learning about at the moment, then you're thinking about maybe it's spirit, right? Maybe it's like spirit in the Christian sense, of Holy Spirit or God or Jesus or whatever it is. If you're, thinking about faith in terms of psychology or mindset and stuff like that, you're just thinking about what you believe, right? Your beliefs. But I think when you have that, I'm just going to say faith for now, and let's all agree it's just going to mean the things that I just said. I think it lets you take some pressure off yourself, because in manifesting, we would call it co-creation. In Christianity, you're like, you say, if you ask for the thing and you genuinely believe that you're going to get it or that you've got it, then it will show up for you, right? That's, I think if you have that, it gives you peace of mind. And I think that peace of mind creates a little bit of extra space for you in the way of a little bit less pressure. And I think in turn, that little bit of less pressure, that little bit less stress, that little bit less anxiety helps you feel a little bit more at peace, a little bit more relief, as I said, a little bit more maybe grounded, a little bit more open, a little bit more supported, all those kinds of things really. And I think that there's a lot of value in that, because when you're there, it's easier for you to think about things. It's easier for you to be creative. It's easier for you to problem solve. Like, yeah, I don't believe that everyone can manifest like all the time, in terms of, think about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs even. If you're worried about your money, then it's going to be very hard for you to manifest anything related to money, because you're already worried, you're already stressed, you're already anxious. There's already fear there, which means that any decision you make is going to be made from fear. And, we talk about, what's the energy that you're bringing to things? Well, it doesn't necessarily need to be energy. I think energy is absolutely important. But if you're thinking about the psychology of it, or the mindset or the beliefs, I think that, if you're not seeing yourself as someone who's capable of making the money, having the money, holding the money, building the money, all of that, and your identity is, I'm someone who's struggling, I'm someone who needs this to work or else, that identity influences your psychology, which is anxiety, right? Which is fear, which is self-doubt, which is externalization, right? It's when you say, what results are you going to guarantee I get with my time with you? It's, I need to talk to 10 other people that worked with you before I decide to do this thing. It's all of that, right? You can go and talk to the 10 other people, right? You can do that, but it's not going to affect your results. Your results come down to you all the time. And as for those of you who are listening who do work in health and wellness as counsellors, psychologists, social workers, as well as I do, like, you can take the tools and the strategies that we've learned with EMDR, with ACT, with CBT, with ADHD coaching. We can take all of that and you can use those same tools that are already evidence-based. You can give them to 10 different people and they'll each have 10 different outcomes, and it's nothing to do with you or your tool, right? It's about, do they see themselves as someone who can get better? Do they see themselves as somebody who's on the other side of it? Do they see themselves as someone who's able to change? Or do they see themselves as someone who's powerless, defeated, stuck with this, can't change, have tried a million times, it didn't work, therefore this is just who I am now, right? And that's just one example. And that's just thinking about money there. Imagine like trying to manifest something if you're really anxious and maybe that anxiety isn't well managed, right? Maybe it's there's a lot of instability around your experience of anxiety. Maybe you're good one day, not great for two, right? All those kinds of things, or some other kind of mental health condition that you're experiencing. It's going to be more difficult for you to be able to manifest the things that you want to experience in your life or your business from that space of flux, right? Because your mindset, your beliefs, the behaviors, your resilience, your perseverance, your decision making, all those things are going to change. Your approach to them is going to change regularly because of the instability, right? So while I believe we're all capable of manifesting things, bringing things into our life and our business, I think conditions apply. And I believe that one of my big issues with manifesting is that that's not spoken about. And I think that that leads to the whole idea of manifesting being, frowned upon and seen as dangerous. And I would agree in those situations. It really is. I think always we want to be grounded first. So yes, anyone who is coming from a place of, we've got to be on a level playing field here with a few different areas of our life before we start to consciously try and bring things in. If we're in that other place, and again, just for simplicity, I'm saying Maslow's hierarchy, it's not the whole thing, but anyway, if you can hear scratching, it's who, I'm just ignoring it again. But yeah, if there's any of that instability there, it's gonna complicate things for us. And if you're highly anxious and you're struggling for money and you're trying to manifest from a place of need, I need to manifest my next mortgage repayment, I need to manifest this or else, right? If you're doing it from that, I think that's problematic. If you're in those situations, or if somebody who is trying really hard to manifest something happens to be in a place of instability, right? I think the right thing to do is perhaps guide them to the right supports for them at the time, whether it's for housing, whether it's medical, whether it's psych, whatever it is, financial, connect them, guide them, support them in getting resourced. And I would be maybe steering clear of saying to them, why don't you just try and manifest it? I follow this girl on Instagram and she manifests stuff instantly. And look, she's got all these followers who also say they're manifesting stuff instantly. I just think giving somebody that advice or sitting by while you watch somebody else try that and they're like, no, I'm not going to apply for jobs this week because I'm just going to manifest the rent. I think that's not great. So I'm different to other people who talk about manifesting because I got boundaries, guys. I think we all need to have them, right? I think we need to have a look at our own sovereignty, which just means what you can control, your agency, okay? And your reality. And reality isn't a magic word either. Your reality is just what's real to you, your experience. Good boy, back on the stool. There you go. Have a lolly. Good buddy. That's all reality is, right? We're not, as I said, conjuring up anything like magic. It's not that at all. Your reality is just your perception of your world, really, whether it's life or business, okay? Just like eyewitness testimony, everybody's got different experience, different perception, different reality of the thing that they just saw happen, that they just witnessed, and their perception of that is based on all those things, right? So, yeah, I think it's very important to recognize that. And I think it's also important just to make sure that, we all understand that while we might have intentions and goals and things like that, these do and can influence our behavior, and our behavior influences our our outcomes. But at the same time, not everything around you in your experience of your life, of your business, is caused by you. It's not. Okay? There are absolutely things that are going to happen around you that are just outside of your control. Okay? But you didn't manifest them, no, but how you deal with them, absolutely within your control. How you perceive them, what you take from them, if you grow from them, what you do or don't do, how you see yourself, how you don't see yourself, all of that sort of stuff, very important, okay? Very helpful. So yeah, having a positive mindset, I think when it comes to manifesting, I don't know that it's really about having a positive mindset. I think it's around being optimistic. And optimism is, you can just go back to Seligman's work with this, can't you? But optimism is taking what you've got and making the best of it, right? It's not deluding yourself. It's not tricking yourself. It's not trying to say something bad that happened is really positive. I think optimism is probably a better way to go than trying to be positive. But while it's a tool or approach or strategy that is spoken about a lot in manifestation spaces, I think it's spoken about out of context, and that is the problem for me. It's not the only thing that contributes to you being able to manifest what you want. Even if, get this, when I'm in the car, I'm singing, okay? Not well, but I'm singing. I love, 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 love singing. I'm tone deaf, but I love to belt out Bohemian Rhapsody, okay? I love it. And I could probably sing it backwards. I know it so well. I love it so much. But it's just me singing. Yet, when I go to church and on a Sunday, we're there, we sing songs sometimes, all the time, every time I go, there's singing. But when we sing songs, what I noticed was that I experience it as powerful in the sense of it's just stronger. It's like I can feel it in my body, the vibration of the music and the singing and the voices. I can feel little vibration in my body from the loudness of it and the vibration of it. And even though I have sensory stuff going on, it feels really strong and powerful. More so than if I'm just singing by myself. If you have one little thread of cotton, it can be strong, right? But if you tangle it up with, 100 other bits of cotton, you twist it together nicely and you've got a cord, that cord is going to be stronger than the bit of cotton. And so I believe my take on manifesting something into your life or into your business is that you can't just have a random strategy over here and then, use that and hope for the best. Or you can't have a bunch of random strategies. I think you need to have the strategies that you need based on your identity, your personal makeup, your psychology, the behaviors, the actions, the steps, the strategies, the tools you've got that you're open to using, and your environment. Those, I think, are the glue, right? They're what's going to set you up to get the thing that you want. All of those things are going to make you a much more effective manifester when it comes to being intentional, like choosing what you want to bring into your experience, than if you just rely on hit and miss strategies and you don't know how to use them and you're just like, well, I've got a calendar with Louise Hay's affirmations and I read every day's daily affirmation. So therefore, no. I think if you paired some of those strategies together, like maybe you read the affirmation, you respond to a question or a reflection about that affirmation, you then develop an action step for yourself to take, you then check in at the end of the day and see how it all went. Like, can you see there's already 4 threads there? That's going to make you better than or better at getting an outcome, or more likely to get the outcome than the person who just read the affirmation, felt good in the moment, and then clicked off and went about her day. But if you do those 4 things that I just said there, I think it was 4, like read it, journal, make an action step, check in with yourself at the end of the day. I think if you do that and you also believe that, you can have this thing that you want, and also your psychology is there, and also you're in an environment that's set up for the thing to come, right? Then you're even better set up to be able to manifest the thing that you want for your life or your business. So I'm just unpacking with you where I'm sitting in terms of manifesting. And, the other thing that I realized as well was I'm not here to convince anybody about whether or not you should, do manifesting in inverted commas. As I said, you're manifesting all the time, whether you want to agree with me or not, you believe it or not, you are. I think there was part of me, based on my previous experience of health professionals getting twisted up about manifesting's bad, don't do it, it's dangerous, all of the things, that put me on the back foot this time round. And I was thinking, no, I'm going to research this, make sure that what I'm doing is okay. And I did that, right? I've spent ages doing a lot of research. Like, if you saw my Google Doc with all my references and all my articles and stuff like that, it's like a whole thing. It's big, right? But I realized this week that was perhaps coming from a place of, I need to prove to people, And I don't want to be in my new business from an energy of proving. I don't. I am choosing to believe, have faith, trust my people and my people. And they're my people for now. They might not be my people tomorrow. They may not have been my people yesterday. As I said, people get on and off your bus. But I don't want to be in an energy of proving. And I would never encourage one of my clients to ever operate anything in their business from that energy. It puts you not in a great place. It puts you on the back foot. I want to lead, not be feeling like I have to catch up to something. And I think, as I said, I have, when I sat down, looked at my client list for the last 3 years, I could see just about everybody on that list had a conversation with me at some point about manifestation or something connected to it. So I know it's not going to affect my clients. I know, clients in terms of new clients and stuff like that. I know clients already know I'm into this. And they value it and they're interested too. And some of them are really interested. Some of them are curious, want to learn a little bit more maybe. Then there are some that are in the middle. And so I'm choosing to show up for them in a way that is going to be blessing to them. I want them to feel like, thank F, someone is finally normalizing this. Thank goodness. Now I've got a space. I can talk about it again. I can make my business fun. I can make my life fun. We can do these things. And because she's got a background, helping people with their mind and with their behavior and getting outcomes in all kinds of different ways, she's really well placed to be able to support me. If I want to just use the evidence-based ways, I can let her know and she can give me just the evidence-based ways. But, if I want to show up and be all spiritual and stuff too, she's down for that. And I am down for that, totally. So the realization this week was speak to the clients who are already here. Speak to the audience that's already here. Do this for them. Don't be in a proving energy. And I want to share this with you because I want to demonstrate that we all find ourselves, it's mindset, right? It fluctuates. It's up, it's down, it's left, it's right. We all go through things like this. You've just been seeing me go through being in a, proving space, but you're also seeing now, again, the turnaround. And so, this is why the website that I hoped would be finished this week is still not finished, because I'm now removing the proving from the website and speaking more into the things I really want to be speaking into that are fun, that are interesting, that work. And guess what? Because I have that background as a psychologist, because I've got the background in research, I want to show you the evidence behind things. I want to, because to me, it's exciting to show you that there's proof. And that's a very different space to me feeling like I have to, or else something bad will happen. You see what I'm saying here? Like now it's gone from, well, I better talk about it being like science worthy and science validated and science credible and stuff like this, or else, Now it's like, oh no, I'm going to do it the way that I want to do it. And I'm going to talk about it using evidence because I get to, because I can. And you know what? There's not a lot of other people in the manifestation space that have 30 years experience working with the mind and human behavior, that have a bachelor's, a fourth year, a master's, and a PhD all in psychology, right? There's just not. And so this is my space and I'm really excited to be in it. And I want to say, if you're still here and you haven't tuned out, thank you so much for your support and for being part of it and for listening. And when I said at the start of the episode today that I was hoping that this episode will be helpful for you, and I do want it to be blessing in the sense that you get something useful from it. I hope that this was the usefulness, seeing what it's like behind the scenes, having somebody be honest with you like that. I hope that was the usefulness of it. Yes, I hope it was also useful to hear about the critiques and criticisms, and also some of the rebuttals, and some of the places that I do agree with some of the critiques and criticisms. Yes, I hope all of that was very helpful. But I think my biggest intention was that the most helpful thing is just hearing what it's really like to be in business on a journey. Anyway, I'm going to get going now because I don't know how long I've been talking for, and I want to take the B-man out for a WALK while it is still sunny outside, and I need to pick up something for dinner. But I hope it was useful and helpful. If it was, let me know. You can send an email, support@brooklynstorme.com, or you can track me down on Facebook. It's just my name. I do have an Instagram account. I haven't posted on it in I don't know how long. I don't know if I will, probably not. That's a whole other conversation. For now, I'm just focusing on getting this website done. But anyway, have a fantastic weekend. Oh, that's what I was saying. Yeah, feel free to reach out, even if it's on Messenger, on Facebook. More than happy to have conversations with some of you. Okay, have a beautiful, 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 beautiful day. Talk to you soon. Bye. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Private Practice Podcast. So as you reflect on today's insights, imagine creating real success in your private practice without going down rabbit holes or exhausting yourself with business activities that don't move the needle. With Practice Momentum, you have push of a button help available on demand. It's like having an expert in your pocket ready to guide you whenever you need it. Visit brooklynstorme.com to discover how Practice Momentum can transform your approach to building a thriving practice. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the mind, business, and spirit of private practice success.